Hello, everyone. We are here at FlightSimExpo 2024 in Las Vegas with Jorg Neumann, head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Sebastian Wloch, CEO of Asobo Studios. It's amazing to see you again, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time.
Great to see you, man.
Great to see you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is coming. It's getting a lot of people excited, me included. I was surprised by the announcement. I was under the impression, you never said this, but I was always under the impression that Microsoft Flight Simulator as a title was never numbered. The year was not there. And I felt that it was because you wanted to make a product that would be continually updated and just be on that version, if that makes sense. And all of a sudden, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 comes out. Did anything change?
No, actually it didn't. So I can explain the name. So I'm a Star Trek fan. I don't know, Star Trek. And there was a reboot by J.J. Abrams that is called Star Trek. That's it. After Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and Voyager and this and that, it just called it Star Trek. So it was a new beginning for the franchise. And I felt the same way about this. There was all this 40 years of flight simming and then all these names. We just wanted to say, there was also Microsoft Flight, if you remember that, which was kind of the offshoot in a way. And we just wanted to say, hey, Microsoft Flight Simulator is back. That's all it really was. And then this new one, actually, I think, what did we plan on having a 2024 version when we, in 2021 or something? No, but it was clear that there was a need because the hobby had grown so much. There's so many creators. The thing ballooned bigger and bigger and bigger. And at some point we said, we've got to do something. And then Seb was basically saying, we need to change the architecture, at which point you have to make a new version.
Yeah. So it was something that it was planned without being planned. The 24, it just happens to be the 2024 version. Is there, picking up on what you just said, is it, and based on the fact that 2024 version is coming 4 years after the first version, did this kind of like starting to imply a cycle of 4 years, or is it something that we'll just wing it as you go?
I don't know, wing it as you go, but we will obviously see what are the consumers saying, what are the simmers saying. If they love it, can we make another one? Of course we can, but we have to see. It's not. There's nothing preordained of every 4 years magically we're going to have another flight sim. But I think we could if people want it. So let's just see.
Okay, Sebastian, the next question is for you, because the last time we had talked, it was here at FlightSimExpo. Well, not here, it was at FlightSimExpo, but back in Houston. And back then you were talking about something that was very exciting, which is performance improvements on the new sim. You talked about the fact that there were some areas of the sim that were improved by tenfold, 10 times quicker. Did you have any progress? What can you tell us about that?
We are continuing the same effort, and it's a lot of multi-threading. For example, what I showed yesterday, the wake turbulence system is an all-new system, which is a lot more performant than what we had before. We had actually some wake turbulence, which was a bit more hard-coded, and it was extremely expensive. Scanning every plane every time to see if you were behind the plane and then trying to simulate wake turbulence. And the new system is a completely different architecture, a lot more performance. And there's many systems like that we either multi-thread or rewrite in a better architecture in order to improve performance and take advantage of the machines today, which have more and more cores and threads.
Thank you. What about, and this is another question I asked you last year. I would love to hear the progress of it, which is AI helicopters or an autopilot system that you said that it could eventually drop in the next version. Is there any progress? Can we expect AI helicopters and or autopilots in the near future?
So I can't elaborate much more today. We're working on something, and you will see in the future, I think, more detail on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Sebastian. Another thing, yeah, I had to ask. Another thing that I would like to know, it's a bit more specific. Obviously, it's about helicopters as well. There's something that the community, well, at least some people in the community have been asking the developers as well, which is the fact that, we do now have helipads, so we have places where helicopters can take off and land. But every time we place a helicopter on a spawn position, the engine is on, and there's no way for us to be able to actually place a helicopter with the engines off. Is it something we could expect for the new version? So the ability for a developer to say, okay, this is a helipad or a helipoint or whatever you want to call it, but whenever the helicopter is there, it may have the ability to have the engine off.
This really sounds like a bug or something like that, and I think that's an option that would be not. I will write it down. It's internally in the code. It's really just a flag. Is it cold and dark, or is it already ready to take off? So I will write it down, and we will add that. And sounds like a oversight or a bug. In order to develop, I like it to be running, because I want to take off and immediately test. And cold and dark, I mean, it's always the same thing. So I wasn't paying attention to that. But I will write it down and we look what we can do. Yeah.
Okay, because the thing is, right now we don't have that option with either aircraft. It just is either on because it's on a runway or a helipad, or off because it's at a gate. There's no way for me to say, okay, I want to be here. Even fixed-wing aircraft on runways, I want my aircraft to be here, but I have the option to have the engines off.
One thing we said yesterday, we said yesterday that we added the option to go out of the aircraft and do a pre-flight checklist. You obviously do that when the helicopter is off. So this system is being reworked, right? How you start, how you decide what this plane is in which state. And so definitely it's going to be something which will be completely changed.
Okay, that's awesome. And now we're going to talk about something that Jorg just mentioned before we started recording. Gliders, not in that sense. Auto gyros. We saw auto gyros on the trailers, on both trailers actually. I think, or just the second trailer. I don't remember, to be honest. But I'm curious. Was there anything new implemented in the flight dynamics so that auto gyros are included, or is it something that the sim already did by default with the helicopter flight dynamics in the past?
So fundamentally, nothing new. It's the same system of rotors, propellers that already existed. The problem is in 2020, what we have so far, it's lacking the possibility to orient engines as you want more dynamically. To the ways the engines were connected together, and the rotors was a limiting factor. But the fundamental physics engine was already actually capable to do that. So there's been no complete change or something. It's just an auto rotation with an engine that pushes you forward. So it's something which we had, but not plugged together in the right way. So that's a minor, I would say, to me, it's a minor physics change. But it's not like a new engine or something. It's just taking advantage better.
Okay, good. We have tandem helicopters in the sim already since the last upgrade. You once said that eventually tilt rotors were coming. When can we expect tilt rotors to be in the sim?
Well, tilt rotors, I think the Joby is a tilt rotor that you saw in the air taxi that's flying around in the latest trailer.
Well, it's a different kind of tilt rotor. It's a different rotor system. But the physics is different between that type of aircraft and, for example, an MV-22 Osprey. Can we expect some?
Yeah, so it's a change which, so the code I already did actually, that you can orient. It was actually even in there in 2020. It was just same thing than the auto gyro. It was just not plugged the right way. So that's something which is in the works. Yeah.
There's also something that the community has been asking about, and I'm asking this particularly because you talked about boats, which got me really excited. And the fact that we will have boats around the world in real time, it's absolutely fantastic. Will we be able to have helipads on those boats as well? And will they move? And will we be able to spawn on those helipads?
You can spawn. I think there's some discussions. So we have oil rigs. The oil rigs all have helipads, as you know. There's 921 or something oil rigs. The boats will have helipads where you can launch, but it's not clear yet because we have to update them as they go. So we are just now putting the ship system just got online. So I think we need to experiment a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, it's not a no, so maybe
long term we're absolutely going to do this. It's a question of what can be done by launch.
Okay, good. I'm going to ask you something that has been asked many times before. No. Oh, yeah, right. It's a lot of shocking. No. It's even basic than there. But I still see a lot of people talking about this and asking about this. You already mentioned this before. It's coming. You're doing your best efforts to make it work. Which is older add-on compatibility. So people are worried because they have all this Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 stuff. 2024 is coming. Oh my God, what's going to happen with my add-ons? You already answered to this question. Yes, we will make it as compatible as possible. My question is mostly, out of curiosity of now that you have 2024 running on your computers, so to speak, is this something that you are being able to maintain?
Oh, I mean, I said we will get murdered if we don't have backwards compatibility. So it's a top priority. I would say, Seb, you want to speak to this because he's spending his actual time on it.
Yeah, so I have out of my two out of my 7 computers, I have one running on 2020, one on 2024. I'm testing side by side. The difficulty is so if an add-on crashes, I know it's not working. I can fix it. But if it's not crashing, it's working. How do you know that it's perfectly working, right? So my way is to look side by side. I can compare the difficulty. So we have a test process which is going to evaluate that they all work and that we didn't break anything. So a target is full compatibility and 0 work, but the difficulty is the number and detail of the add-ons to test and guarantee that it's all working. I would say for bugs and crash it's easy, but if there's a texture which is a little bit bigger or a bit smaller, you don't really know if it's exactly the same. So I think we have a target. We invest a lot of work into making it work. And I will do personally my testing because I know it's an important topic. So I want to make sure we do our best on this and we get maximum compatibility and hope for 0 effort. I mean, there's effort if you want to take advantage, of course, of new features, right? But so that it just works, that's our goal.
I think you have to break it down a little, right? So there's 2,200 airports, 1,100 sceneries. And I think the confidence is high that the airports will work. There's a new element, which is new aerials, which we can't really do anything about, right? It's basically a different picture. If you use that terrain, then there might be some color changes that people have to do, right? That's possible, but the geometry should work. And then on the 400 or so aircraft that we have in the sim, as Seb said, we can't test them all. We don't know those planes all that well. So at some point, we'll have the SDK ready. There's a build out. The people that really make it should certainly test their thing again. But fundamentally, it should work. But we just don't know everything, right? It's impossible.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for answering that. I will certainly get some clips out whenever someone asks. I'll just send them the clips. And here, Jorg and Sebastian are saying exactly what you want to hear. So yeah, go watch that. Thank you very much. I want to start talking. I have a few questions about something that is very interesting to me for very obvious reasons, which is the mission system, right? Helicopters, missions, rescuing people, etc., etc. And there's a question that I have that immediately got in my mind as soon as I saw it, which was right now everything we can do on Microsoft Flight Simulator development-wise has to go through the SDK. So people have to learn the SDK, all that stuff. Are there any plans, or the way that you are adding the mission editor, so to speak, will it be more user-friendly so everyone that uses the sim, and not just developers, are able to make and share their own missions?
I would say we talked about this. It's not going to make launch. So we had, there's something, David actually was posing it. It was, there's something called GTA Online. I don't know if you use it, but you can basically just go with your Xbox controller and press buttons to put, for example, gates down, and they can make missions like this. That was an idea once. We didn't make it for launch. It was much more important to have a robust system underneath it all. But long term, I think the idea is right. And empowering people to do something like this. I think it's a level of complexity question at some point or another, right? The GTA races are pretty simple. But that's the goal, right? We're trying to empower people. But again, this is a process, right? You're not going to have everything the same the day we launch. And I think that's what hopefully we've shown, right? We're actually I'm very excited about launch. We'll learn a lot. What do people like? What do they have issues with? And we're going to make adjustments. And that's just a journey for the next coming years.
That's just how software development works, I guess. It's exactly the same, whatever software is involved, right?
Rather than designing in a box and saying, here it is, and you better be happy with it. We are interacting with the community, and we will continue to do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Still talking about missions and the SDK. Will the SDK allow developers to have access to triggers inside those missions? Will they be able to access everything from the SDK as well? Well, you already said that on the initial version, we won't have like a user-friendly mission editor. So I'm guessing that everything will be accessible through the SDK. It's probably how you are doing those missions right now.
That's exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Okay, good. Still about the mission system, will the missions be be single player only, or will I be able to play those missions with friends? Like, for example, firefighting mission, an area burning. Can I just come in with my friends and other helicopters and just put out that fire? Am I limited to using it by myself? Will other players in the area be able to see that fire as well? They may not be able to join me, or they may not want to join me as I'm fighting the fire, but how does that work in multiplayer?
Questions. Yeah, we're not really talking about the mission system yet, but those are great questions. There will be an opportunity in a few months where we can talk about this.
Okay, think about me. I will want those questions to be answered. I'm super excited about the mission system. And because we always talked about the fact that helicopters perform a variety of systems.
The thing with the mission system is that people said, "Oh, that looks gamey." Well, here's actually what happened. So we did a poll. And in the poll, we have basically, we think of the audience as three somewhat discrete audiences. There's the core simmers, there's the gamers, and then there's the people that are called digital tourists. All three said by almost like by 80% of them said, we really want more to do. So it was across the board, everybody wants more to do. That's why we did the system. And that's why we also made it pretty diverse. There's some things we get to talk about, right? Because it ultimately you have to fit into people's life. Right? You can take missions that take a lot of hours because you're flying to Antarctica. And some people might say, we don't have that much time, so you can teleport yourself. And there's other things, there's shorter experiences that we will have just to fit people's lives, and then they can opt in. And we'll see exactly what resonates. I'm very, very excited to see that.
Yeah. Well, the next question is, I think it's easy for you to answer, because from what I've seen so far with Microsoft Flight Simulator, you are always trying to update and add new things. Can we expect, I hope so, and I think I know the answer. Can we expect new types of missions in the future?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So, final thoughts. I know you are both excited about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I don't need to ask if you are excited, but I always like to learn a bit more about, I would say it's probably the personal side of the people behind the product. For you personally, what are you more excited about the sim? Is there anything in specific that you said, okay, this is cool, this is coming along better than I was expecting, this is different?
I mean, I would say it this way: it's by far the biggest product I ever had anything to do with, and it's not a single thing. It is that we are trying to do something for everybody. Like, there's lots of core simmer work going on, whether or not it's Asobo or working title, putting new avionics in, new systems in of higher complexity. Core simmers will be happy, no doubt about it. Gamers will be happy, no doubt about it. And the casual people will be happy. And fundamentally, that's what we try to achieve, like make a piece of software that delights people. And I think it'll delight across the board, which is great. And then when my personal things, when you ask me personal things, I'm always on the side of the smaller groups. And I know sailplanes, or even maybe helicopters, are slightly smaller groups. And the amount of effort we put in to make that awesome is really, really great. And that's why I'm absolutely certain that you will love Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 as a helicopter person or as a sailplane person, because there's never been anything like this before. So that makes me happy, because we want to bring people together. This should be the sim for every helicopter fan out there, and I think it will be.
And that's exciting. And what you were saying about, the fact that you are catering to everyone is exactly what I do and other people do. We try to reinforce that idea that this is not an elitist title. This is not an elite, or should be an elitist community. There's something for everyone. And the way I only fly helicopters. Some people are like, what? Why? Because they only fly airliners. I don't fly airline. I don't fly fixed wing. I fly helicopter. That's my way of simming. Do I look in a weird way to people that fly airliners? No, it's their thing, right? So I appreciate that thought, that line of thought.
I think you'll see this also once we talk about the mission system more. We don't preordain what you need to do. There is no single path that you need to follow or something that some designer came up with. This is the world of aviation in the digital format. Live it. If you like balloon flying, go do that. If you want to be a fighter pilot guy, go do that. If you want to be an airline pilot, go do that. You follow your pursuits and explore. It's a beautiful thing, right?
It is. It is a beautiful thing. Sebastian, what about you? What's the thing that really? And you know, and I like the fact that both you and Jorg are here because it's different. I would say different sides of the coin, but it's different things, right? You are more a technical guy. Jorg's more of a product guy. What are you more excited? And I'm actually asking from the technical perspective, not just saying, "Oh, everything is good." For you as a developer, as somebody that gets into the nitty gritty things, the side of things, what are you more excited about?
I will give the pilot perspective. You saw in the trailer when the helicopter transports a box. I spent days flying that in the sim again and again and again, and I would say so. I've flown helicopters for 3 years now. I didn't know about them, but now I think I fly pretty well. I can fly a helicopter without assistances and everything. But doing the same thing with a goal, just like picking up air conditioning or dropping it without killing anybody or crashing, it adds a layer of complexity, but also it makes it exciting. And I think that applies to everything. Flying is already amazing, but flying with a goal adds a dimension to it, which makes it really, I think, to me, it's I rediscovered really flight simming with that. And so that's really exciting for me.
Yeah, I like what you say, that the fact that the flying with a goal adds that extra layer, because one of the things, and this Jorg for sure, because you saw the community talking, once there was a career mode and mission announced, oh, this is our game, how the community is, and I looked at it and I saw it for what it is. It's not a game, it's not because it's a game. It's giving people a purpose. Remember when back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the first ones that we just saw the lines, we had to use our imagination. Yeah, we have come so much, farther from that, and we are getting something that, curiously, a lot of people were asking, and a lot of people now are complaining when we are getting it. Okay, so Jorg, thank you very much once again for your time. Thank you very much once again for leading this amazing product that's just overwhelming and surprising since back 2019. And I've always been one of your biggest critics.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm also one of the persons that is more enjoys the sim more, is happy, probably happier, the happiest simmer of them all, because I see what you're doing, and I am really excited about what's coming.
I actually always appreciate that you are to ask hard questions. Community wants to know hard answers, so it's good. But I think you sense it. We are right at the lift of something amazing.
I am. I said back then, Microsoft Flight Simulator, that version, what we now call 2020, was just the beginning. You said that. And I understood the concepts. And I tried to get that people to understand that. And here we are, folks. 2024 is coming, and it's just absolutely amazing. Sebastian, thank you very much for your time. And I hope to see you sometime.
Probably soon.
Okay, good. You're here first. Thank you very much for everyone. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is coming. Missions are coming, and it's going to be really, really fun. Thank you all.